What if instead of clapping, I just turn the sensitivity on my microphone all the way to maximum and then scratch my chin?
That's not going to help me sync it at all.
ASMR?
It doesn't help me sync the audio.
No, but you can use it later for ASMR.
You can use it later.
I can use just a really short scratch noise for ASMR. Like, just loop it. Like, what do I do with it?
Yeah,
Wouldn't have
save
to
it
be
in
short. Just tell me what you want. I'll hook you up.
What's going on here?
All right, well, welcome to Day One Pass Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. We got a full cast of characters today. Tim Spence being one of them.
One of them.
Matt Lawrence being another.
I am.
And Adriano Petty.
I
Who isn't one of them?
He can be.
You didn't specify, so I just assumed.
yeah.
Tim,
Yes,
are you currently on your recovered PC?
I'm currently on my PC, yes.
How's that been going?
It's functioning fine now.
Do you are you appreciating the 3080?
The first thing that I
3080
played
Ti?
on it was Two Worlds 2, so
So the
That's
answer
one of
is
the
yes.
Survivors.
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing worth playing is if I can run it over 400 FPS. So yeah, no, I haven't really. I tried booting up what's it called? Cyberpunk with like ray tracing on and stuff, and it ran really badly. It ran at like less than
That's
30 FPS.
bizarre.
And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna fiddle with this right now. I don't care. I kind of don't really feel like playing Cyberpunk anymore anyway, so I just kind of wanted to see if it would like function as like a benchmark. It was fine until like I was running a benchmark specifically on it, and it was fine until
okay.
it wasn't, and then it like dipped below 30, and it never went back above 30.
The real world, like if you were to actually play it, it might be okay then.
Yeah,
I
that's
tried
what I'm
that
thinking
too. I tried that too.
And that
Oh,
sucked.
okay.
Yeah. That's when it went like it dipped below 30, and then I tried actually playing it, and it was super inconsistent. It was like all over the place.
Oh my
Or
lord.
less than 45 almost everywhere. So I was like, well, throw it in the trash, waste of money. No, I didn't do that, but it's fine. I'm honestly more excited about the potential of like maybe if a good opportunity arises for getting like a VR headset, I already said arises. If an opportunity arises for a good VR headset, then perhaps I will be more prepared for it to actually process those sorts of titles, and also just for like streaming as well, having hopefully not having to worry about like turning my settings down every time I go to stream something. That'll be nice too. But yeah, I'm satisfied with the upgrade. Had to get a bunch of new parts because that's what PCs are. You go to change one thing, but then that means that this other thing has to be changed, which means this other thing has to be changed.
Yeah, they make it sound like people selling you on PCs. They make it sound like you just can upgrade the parts you want as time goes on, but that's not really the case anymore because they're so demanding now that if you buy a new thing, you need to then upgrade your RAM or upgrade your power supply, or
And like, swapping out RAM is one thing, but then yeah, if it's like, oh, I had to swap out my GPU, which has a higher power draw, and I need almost double the voltage or wattage that I was getting before. Well, now that means a complete rewire of everything.
And
So-
you had like a mid-tier system before, and you put in a high-end graphics card. So now the worry is your CPU being bottlenecked, or is it bottlenecking the graphics card rather?
I mean, yeah, that's like one of the questions, right? But most people who sort of looked at the build said, no, like it looks like it's fine, kind of thing.
Well, most games aren't really CPU heavy anymore.
Yeah, it's more so the GPU. So that's
Although
hopefully
that's turning
I'm
around.
good on that. The biggest problem was just that like I put everything in, and it just didn't boot. And so I was like, great. And didn't feel like troubleshooting myself at the time. So I took it to the shop where I bought the parts, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll take a look at it. And like, if it turns out that it was a faulty part or something, like we'll comp the cost of everything. So I was like, sweet. And the guy just like, that was there took a look at it and said, everything physically looks right. I don't understand why it's not booting. So they had to hang on to it for a couple of days because they already had sort of a backlog of other computers. But when the guy finally got around to it, he just like took everything out, reseated everything, and it just booted fine. So I guess I take solace in the fact that I didn't do anything wrong. If it like it should have just worked, and it wasn't for some small reason, I guess. But at least it wasn't that like, something was installed properly or it was faulty or anything like that. It was just that it just didn't work. So you turn it off, turn it back on again kind of situation. And then he was like, yeah, it literally took me like 2 minutes to do this, so I'm not going to charge you for it.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Yeah. All right, let's hop into our top four stories for this week. First up, kind of a big one. The FTC likely to file antitrust lawsuit over Microsoft's Activision-Blizzard acquisition. And this is a report. This article's from GameSpot, but I believe the report was from Politico. It says, as Microsoft faces scrutiny from regulators around the world regarding its attempted acquisition of Activision-Blizzard, it may encounter one of its most significant hurdles yet in the United States. Federal Trade Commission is likely to file an antitrust lawsuit over the proposed deal, according to a new report from Politico. A lawsuit is said not to be a guarantee as of yet, as the FTC's commissioner have not voted on such a move and may first look to meet with lawyers from Microsoft and Activision-Blizzard. An FTC investigation is ongoing, but much of it is completed, and a lawsuit could come in December. The FTC declined to comment on the possibility. But I kind of think we slowly saw this coming. There was some talk in Europe. I think there's an investigation going on over there, and once it hits the States, I'm not sure how this will go for Microsoft. It's a massive acquisition, right? So, what do you think would happen if this doesn't go through?
Nothing's going to happen to Microsoft. Everything's going to happen, if anything, to Activision Blizzard. I would guess.
I would think that there would be another player to try to jump on that acquisition instead.
It should be Sony, and then Sony should have
Sony doesn't have the
clear road.
Sony doesn't have the capital for that. That's probably why they're, instead of like trying to buy somebody else and try to match one for one, that's probably why they're fighting it. They can't do $60 billion. But if they say you can't buy Activision, companies now know that Activision is willing to be bought. There is a price that they're willing to say, hey, yeah, we could do this. So I don't know if there would be another Apple.
Well, what begs the question here, though, is
question mark?
Is the problem Microsoft in this, or is the problem that Activision Blizzard is too big and owns too many licenses across the market? Would their acquisition to any company be antitrust?
No, because no one raised a stink when they bought, Bethesda or smaller developers or whatnot. It's just that Activision Blizzard is such a massive company already. Yeah, that them merging is like, okay, well now there's less options for consumers.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like anyone who's in the game at all now, like if somehow THQ were somehow able to acquire Activision Blizzard, would that also come under the same fire? Because they're already in the game and they're going to be gaining so much because of the volume of games that Activision Blizzard has and all the licenses and all that stuff.
But THQ wouldn't be able to afford it either. The only people who can afford this is Microsoft or, like Adriano said, Apple or Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is what side is the problem? Is it Microsoft that's the problem? Or is it like Activision Blizzard is too big to be acquired without antitrust coming in?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's Microsoft being too big, but it's Microsoft being too big plus Sony raising a fucking stink. Because it's probably Sony really lobbying for FTC and other major country legislation to do something about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly believe that if Sony wasn't fighting tooth and nail, this will probably get looked at like any other major acquisition. But I think it's Sony. Like, they are pulling hard numbers to trying to show that, Microsoft would benefit greatly from this, and it would be incredibly unfair to competitors.
I think that's definitely part of it, but I think to Matt's point, I don't know if there would be as much of a stink raised if Apple purchased them, because Apple's not directly in the video game development business.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And so it wouldn't really upset the market too much if they bought them. But because Microsoft already has, a dozen or more, 24, however many studios they have, and they just bought Bethesda, which was a huge, massive purchase. And then it's just like, now you have one controlling body, over a ton of game developers.
Well, I guess one other question I have is, with this deal, is this, and we may have actually mentioned this in passing in one of another episodes, but is this kind of marking the end of the console wars and the start of the acquisition war? The reason why I say this is because if this ends up being, a lot of these antitrust things end up being due to Sony's pushing and lobbying and whatever else they're doing, is Microsoft then going to do the same thing? Sony goes to acquire someone, let's say the size of Bungie, because they did acquire Bungie. They go to acquire someone else the size of Bungie, and Microsoft just comes in and just tries to block them, just tries to run the price up with legal fees and everything else, lobbying and everything else, and starts this, or continues, I suppose, this acquisition war.
That's a good question. I don't know, because it hasn't really happened until now, right? I don't think Sony complained too much about Bethesda, right?
I don't recall them complaining too much about it. Although Bethesda games didn't run all that well on Sony consoles, so. But
yeah, I don't know. It could be a slippery slope, I guess, right? It is also just business, though, to fight, your competitor's acquisition sometimes.
Sure, but this could be a very much like a tit for tat, like, oh, you ruined my deal, I'm going to ruin yours,
I did see Brian McCaffrey, who's like the lead guy for Xbox at IGN. He did tweet something out. I can't remember it exactly, but he was talking about how, he doesn't think Phil Spencer's that kind of guy, but he also works for a company that, wants to make money. And so, yeah, it could kind of turn into like a revenge kind of thing. You screwed up our big, massive deal, and so maybe they'll try to buy up other studios that Sony wants. They could buy Square Enix to get some more Japanese kind of, games on Xbox's side. Take away their Japanese market. Who knows?
This could get spicy. This could become
I don't want it to, thing. Because it felt like up until now there was such like good faith between the three big, players: Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
Or they at least wanted it to appear that way.
Yeah. I don't want it to get too dirty, but I mean, it's kind of only a matter of time.
It getting dirty for them is good for us.
It can be. It depends on where the dust settles.
Yeah, it depends, because there's a difference between competition and trying to screw over your competitor. They could take a beloved license that people are like, yay, Microsoft bought it in this hypothetical, and then Microsoft's like, yeah, well, too bad, Sony. And they just get rid of it. They like bury it. They just hold the trademark, hold the rights to it, and they just don't do anything with it, just to cause like more of a fight between the two.
See you later, Final Fantasy.
That would be fucking wild.
That'd be pretty huge.
Final Fantasy available exclusively on Game Pass.
Yeah. I think Microsoft's also working with Kojima on a game. That's pretty interesting.
I think that's right. Although he's been on Xbox before with one of the Metal Gears, right? Or even more than maybe one.
Well, Phantom Pain came out on Xbox.
Isn't there another one, Rising or something? Something?
That wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
What was it? MGS4 is still only on PS3, which is insane. I'm not sure how that, who's not getting that out, but probably Konami, I guess, right?
It would be Konami, yeah.
That's insane. That's the game's locked to the PS3. It's so bizarre.
Well, the thing that's a shame about the PS3 as well is I told you about this, Ryan, as well, is, I'm always saying there should be another Resistance, but I'd love to play Resistance again, but I ain't going to go dust off a PS3 to go play it. In the era of like PS4 games running on PS5 and Xbox original games through 360 through whatever, all the way through Xbox Series X working, with exceptions, of course, but with them all this backwards compatibility stuff these days, I'd love for Resistance just to port it over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Insomniac as well, which is interesting. Just hire a smaller studio just to make it work. I'm baffled at that. It's like and the same with Metal Gear Solid as well. As Metal Gear Solid 4 was such a unique experience back then. I've never seen a Metal Gear Solid before then, and like such a weird and unique experience. To leave it on a console that is kind of siloed and can't even be backwards, like it isn't easily done backwards compatibility wise, isn't easily emulated, and isn't. Like it's very bizarre. It's really interesting that it just got left. Like games are just stuck on the PS3 to the point where I'm starting to see videos on YouTube of like, here's the top 10 games stuck on PS3 on YouTube.
There must be some calculus or legal reasons, right? Either it's not worth the money to port it over, or there's some legal thing that it's stuck there for some reason. Or I'll put something like Konami where they just kind of gave up. Well,
work has to be done to do it, and I'm not trying to like belittle the work to be done, but to leave, such an iconic game as Metal Gear Solid, and then also such an iconic like that's Sony's Halo. Like Resistance is Sony's Halo. Like what's going on here?
Not in terms of Resistance, but in terms of Metal Gear Solid 4, it could be hell to bring it over to something else. Because of the weird architecture that the PS3 had. So maybe it's really difficult and costly to get those games off there. Have we seen a ton of PS3 games come to PS4?
Well, I was going to say there's a bunch of old games that are just like on there, like PS2 games though, like War of the Monsters and stuff like that. But I can't recall many PS3, although I haven't really looked. PS2, I would assume, is easy to move over because War of the Monsters wasn't all that popular, at least not to my knowledge. Kind of a cult classic, if anything, and like for that to be just available on PS4, like someone obviously did the work to move it over.
And there was during the PS3, there was a lot of PS2 HD like remasters for PS3, weren't there?
I actually didn't play my PS3 all that much, so I don't know.
What? You didn't play that horrible console?
It like constantly like it broke twice on me, like in rapid succession. Like
horrible.
Yeah, seems
the bit extreme.
No, I'm exaggerating the. I didn't have a problem with the PS3. I know Adriano hates it.
It is. Yeah, I don't want to use the word hate.
It's lacking,
but close to hate.
Yeah, it's just a weird system. Everything about it, from not only its physical design, but its OS, its inability to have more than one user signed in at a time. Like it can't even support dual profiles.
Only tells you when people go offline.
Yeah, it couldn't see it. I know the PSN PlayStation Network was early, but it had problem communicating with its Vita and PS4 counterparts on certain things. There were a few games that were crossplay between PS3, PS4, and Vita, but PS4 and Vita people couldn't see when PS3 people were online, so it was virtually useless because you couldn't invite anyone. It's just the
party system was crazy.
There's a party system.
It was just for chat. You could not do it simultaneously.
You couldn't do it while playing a game because there wasn't enough RAM, and so you could only chat just to sit there on your couch with your console on. When you boot up a game, you had to go to the in-game chat
lobby. Yeah.
That's wild.
PlayStation Home kicked ass though.
Hell yeah, the metaverse before the metaverse.
Yeah, man. That was really good. It was definitely it sort of felt to me like, and I never had a PlayStation 3. I only had friends who did, but it felt to me like almost a crossover between like if Nintendo had a more powerful console and a concept of what the internet was, what they would kind of want, like a casual social, like massively multiplayer online system.
We're all talking on our what do they call that thing? Like the Wii Talk. It's like the little orb thing that was that came with one of the Animal Crossings. It was a microphone and I think a speaker all in one or something like that.
Oh yeah, City Folk or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's looking at their "Hey You Pikachu" microphones from the N64 days. Thing never worked, man. I swear to God, where you sitting there yelling at Pikachu, like, pick up the fruit, and it just keeps running back and forth and like jumping in the river. And
is that a real thing? Like voice commands?
Yeah. There was a game on the N64 that came with a microphone called "Hey You Pikachu," and you had a Pikachu, and you would go about like a daily routine with them, and you would use voice commands.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
It was passable at best. Found the controls did not often work for that.
That was unfortunate. You can play PlayStation Home again, though. Mystic on YouTube did a video where someone has revived it. They got the source code or however they did it. They got the server back up and running, and you can play PlayStation Home again if you want to.
Wait, like from a PS3, or do you have to connect to like a private server?
I think it's a private server, and I want to say I watched this a number of months ago. I'll link the video in the show notes. I want to say it's on PC, but I'm not sure on that. But it is PlayStation Home.
I mean, that's not bad though. Like I remember there was that I think there was like a golf game. There was like a glider game as well. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But man, there were some just like I just have these like ridiculous memories of just people hanging out and just talking in big groups. And then there were just some like ridiculous interpersonal interactions just through the lens of PlayStation Home that just like is a permanent mark in my brain in the history of Sony's gaming platforms.
Well, I remember one of the crazy things is I watched that Power On, I believe it's called, documentary about the Xbox. And one of the big things was people would buy that Xbox Live starter kit and they would get Xbox Live for a year or whatever it was. They'd also get a headset. And Microsoft got smart then. They said, okay, we're not going to be using keyboards and stuff like Final Fantasy Online on the PS2. Headsets are killer. People are chatting on Halo was a big one back then on the original Xbox. We're going to include a headset in the box. And I remember PlayStation 3 did not do that. So not many people had microphones, but Warhawk came with a bundle. And I remember I bought the bundle to get the Bluetooth headset. And then Ryan, you wanted to go on PlayStation Home. So I had this little shitty, I still have it. It's like behind me on a shelf, actually, with my dead PS3 on the shelf. It has this like this little Jabra headset, and it just like clips to your ear. It's like one of those like business people headsets, whatever, kind of. And I remember you and I tried to talk to each other for like 40 minutes, and we didn't know it was push to talk. And we kept like gesturing. And I think I maybe had a cell phone, or maybe I was MSNing you being like, can you hear me? And it was just like the most early 2000s experience on a fucking PlayStation 3 ever.
It was awesome.
I think it's voice activated, actually.
Probably. Fuck. Just like the PS5 is. That everyone uses, right?
Yeah.
Everyone use
PS4 had that too.
Yeah, when we all used it to controller systems.
It constantly said this can't be used right now.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Sorry, you didn't say, hey, PlayStation in the right cadence.
I don't know how we got here from FTC investigating Microsoft. But here we are.
Makes for a good segue to the next story.
Speaking of the PS5, are you guys ready for the PlayStation 6?
I've already got mine pre-ordered.
Hell yeah. Sony doesn't expect PlayStation 6 before 2027. confidential documents suggest. This is from Eurogamer. So the partially redacted document was released publicly today as part of the UK's ongoing in-depth Competition and Markets Authority review into Microsoft's proposed $68 billion Activision-Blizzard buyout. In an intriguing passage discussing the length of time Call of Duty may remain on PlayStation, Sony claims that at the time of writing, it expected to lose access to the franchise in 2027. Sony then goes on to state that by that time, it launched the next generation of its PlayStation consoles. It would have lost access to Call of Duty and other Activision titles. So Phil Spencer has come out and said, I think a couple times, that Call of Duty will be on PlayStation as long as they're making Call of Duties. Do you think that's just, I don't want to say lie, but do you think they're trying to get these watchdogs off their back?
I want to believe him, and I mostly do.
I guess the trouble is he's not always going to be in charge of Xbox.
Yeah.
He's going to move on at some point. You don't know when.
I think he has good intentions. I think he has I'm not going to say the consumer's best interest because it is a business. At the end of the day, he wants to make money and sell shit. But if there is any head of any major company out of not only the three major console manufacturers, but the other developers like Ubisoft, EA, he seems to be the most genuine and straightforward and kind of the say how it is situation. He's very candid in interviews and says, yeah, this is a situation and we want to do this, and this. So I can see, like, Microsoft's no stranger to having products on other platforms. They have done it not in necessarily video games, but in other areas. So from a business standpoint, if it is making money, there's no reason not to believe him. But then he also has other people to answer to as well. So,
and how do you guys feel about PS6 in 2027 or later? I guess
are they still going to be supporting the PlayStation 4 back then? Like, where the fuck are the PlayStation 5 games? Is my response. Like, I want a PlayStation 5 a full experience. This is getting a little ridiculous.
That's why you get rid. That's why you get rid of the consoles and just go with all in one.
Well, what's really unfortunate is, like, I like having the latest
in one.
No, because it's more expensive that way, arguably. But the thing is that, like, my PS4 was dying really bad. Now I like getting the consoles regardless, like, as soon as I can. But like, my PS4 was going to die, and so I was like literally stuck in a place where it's like, I'm going to have to hit the PlayStation 5 purchasing game hard and find a pre-order now, or I'm going to have to buy another PlayStation 4 to hold myself over, or do without, which I wasn't willing to do. So I was like, well, it's a waste of money to buy an interim, like a PlayStation 4, like another one, or another PlayStation 4, or rather a slightly upgraded PlayStation 4 Pro. So I may as well get the 5 now, because within a year or so, I thought, we'll be kind of cutting the PlayStation 4 off, and that'll be it. But here we are, fully supporting the PS4 to the point where we have people that we talk to on the PS4, and it's virtually the same experience short of load times, which is a little unfortunate for the PS5 owners, I think.
I'm having a good time.
But it is a waste of power, though. Like,
I'm enjoying my 60 FPS.
Well, you achieved the load times of the PlayStation 5 on PlayStation 4 games, to be clear, with an SSD in your PS4 Pro.
However, games weren't optimized for SSDs.
Correct. Like, you achieved, like, not exactly PlayStation 5 speeds, but I'm talking like, again, PlayStation 4 games were loading very quick on a PS4 Pro with an SSD in there, very fast. And your Fallout 76 became way more efficient than ours. So it's really unfortunate that we haven't seen the true power. I'm not saying we necessarily need to completely kill the PS4, especially in stuff like an esport title, Overwatch and stuff like that, because that runs on anything, even on PC. That's fair. That's fine. But it is unfortunate to be like, buy the most powerful console and use 60% of its power today. It's like, why?
because it's fun.
But I wonder if it's going to make people question a PlayStation 6. If a PlayStation 6 launched in 2027, I would have some, short of me having to buy one because my PlayStation 5 was breaking. I would have some serious doubts about purchasing a PlayStation 6.
Let's put into perspective here. So the PS5 originally launched in November 2020 on at least a 7-year life cycle and potentially longer. A PS4 launched in November 2013, exactly 7 years before the PS5. Though the console remains well supported today, and it had that PS4 Pro upgrade, that kind of mid-cycle. I don't know if it was exactly mid-cycle, but somewhere around there.
The PS4 is basically still a modern console.
God of War Ragnarok is on you can run it on a base PS4.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, that game's on PS4?
Yeah. Yes, everything is on PlayStation 4. Everything's on PlayStation 4. Like, not actually everything, but like everything is largely just on the PS4.
You know, so I remember when they announced the first PS5 game. It was at the Game Awards, not the last one. Maybe it was one of those. Godfall.
Maybe like 3 years away.
Yeah, Godfall. Godfall, right? And
yeah.
The trailer hit, and it said like PS5 at the bottom, and the Jeff Keighley being Jeff Keighley was like, "Hey, yeah, did you see that? We're announcing a PS5 game before the PS5's even out or even announced or whatever." Yeah. And it was supposed to be like a PS5 exclusive. Then the game launched. And somewhere into that game's life, because I think the game's still going, it's a live service game, they announced that they are going to retroactively do a PS4 version because the market and the support probably just wasn't there.
Man,
well, it doesn't help when people were having such a hard time finding a PS5 to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting that there'd be no consoles out there.
Yeah,
I was able to get 2 of them. I got lucky.
What's the situation of it now? It's still difficult to find them, or is it pretty easy?
I still don't see them in stock online. They're doing like bundles now, I see, to try to get them through.
Holiday bundles are pretty like normal around this time of year too, especially on the second year of a console's life.
When did I see them? Was there some sale in the summertime? Like in July? The hell was that sale?
Christmas in July.
Maybe.
Oh,
but
maybe.
I remember I got a coworker.
That'd be terrible.
I got a coworker at PS5. No, I didn't buy it. I sent her the link because they were doing like bundles on Best Buy. Like it came with another controller and stuff like that. It's like when that happens, I see them in stock, but I don't ever just see the straight up, PS5 in stock.
That's wild.
I did see an article. I didn't read it though, but it did say that scalpers were losing interest in the PS5.
I saw
because prices are coming down.
I saw a parody article that was like saying PS5 scalpers to swap interest to reselling Taylor Swift tickets after seeing how much more money they can make from them or something like that. And I was like, that's a shame for T Swift fans, but at least people can get their hands on a PS5.
Well, the Series S has been around for a while and seems to be in stores a lot. The Series X, I don't see in retailers too much, but on eBay from full-on just Microsoft official resellers or Microsoft authorized resellers at full retail or very close. Like I think it was $5 more. You could just buy them in the summer, Series X. And they would go out of stock, and I would check in here and there, but just about every other time I checked, they were in stock and then out of stock. So they were just kind of getting them and shipping them out.
What do you guys think about the PS5 Pro? Do you think that's even coming now or what?
Why though?
I don't know. I mean, it is a tricky situation. Obviously, they have to plan these consoles years in advance, and maybe they weren't predicting, the shortage, or even what you're saying, Matt, where games are still running on base launch day PS4s.
There would have to be
they would have planned it.
I feel like there would have to be enough on the platform, the base platform, to justify the power upgrade. Like I don't think anyone's going to start like necessarily developing for a PS5 Pro if there aren't even enough games on the PS5 yet.
It would just be the Sony developers, right?
Yeah. So like, I don't know. And at that point, it's like, is anybody even? It was so hard to get a PS5. I feel like people would feel exhausted trying to find a PS5 Pro. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not until like 2023 2025 or 2026 that they even start to begin talks of a PS5 Pro.
To me, it always feels like the upgrade consoles should have been the actual console. Because when the base PS4 and Xbox One launched, it almost feels like they're always just right behind where they could have been. Because it's like if they launch because currently right now you have to still choose on your games between performance mode and like visual mode, right? Do you want frames or do you want better graphics? And it's like, well, why can't we have both? And it's like if they launch a PS5 Pro, maybe you could get both. You could now have 4K at 60 FPS.
I don't know if that's just like hindsight talking though, because it's like
maybe
when those hardware upgrades come out, it's like, oh, look at how like not that different they are from the base console. Why didn't they just wait a little bit and then release this one? Whereas like they would have to have released the base console version to then know what that standard was to reiterate on it. Like, because when the PS4 first came out, I remember being like flabbergasted how much better it was than like the Xbox 360, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it might be a little bit of like 2020 hindsight there.
I'm just saying, move that base year like 3 years in. That's all I'm saying.
It's hardware development lag too, though.
So you wanted the PS4 to come out
when the PS4 Pro did.
It was like 16 years after the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
How long was that life cycle? Right. Like 12 years or something? It was long.
It was long, yeah. Although they feel shorter now, maybe that just has to do with age and the years going by faster.
Yeah, we're old now, so.
But the PS2 felt like it was forever. PS3 felt like it was forever, and it kind of was. But then PS4 kind of flew by.
You know what's crazy is like the old consoles were like 4 years between consoles.
Oh yeah,
and it felt like an eternity as a kid. It feels like it was like half my life between the N64 and the GameCube, and it was like 4 or 5 years.
And a lot of people like complain like, oh, the jumps in graphics aren't as good anymore. But I don't know if that's the case. I just think what you're seeing isn't as obvious. There's a lot more going on in today's games than the jumps between a PS1 and a PS2. You know what I mean?
It's more of a nuanced difference, yeah. And like obviously it's easy to compare, like you're going from a 2D game to a 3D game. That's a huge obvious visual jump. Whereas like on the PS4, you didn't have like ray traced lighting, and on the PS5 you do. And when you see it side by side, you're like, oh yeah, damn, that's a huge like visual difference. And like if you were playing the game on like a PS4 and then you play the same game on a PS5 like a year later, you might go like, oh yeah, this does look better. I can't quite put my finger on why it looks better, but it does look better. But if you were to play them like back to back, you'd obviously like notice the difference. Like I remember playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag on the PS4 when it first came out. That was the first game that I played on it. I got that game before I even got my PS4. And I played through the whole game, and like I put like tons of hours into it. I really, really liked Black Flag. And then I remember Matt had said that he was playing Black Flag on PS3, and it kept like you kept getting to the same point in the game, and your save would corrupt or something.
Oh yeah, my console broke, and then you couldn't. There was no backup because I didn't have PlayStation Plus because there was no reason on the PlayStation 3.
Right.
Well, evidently you did have a reason, Matt.
And then there was a reason
to back up your save. Yeah.
So I went to Matt's one time, and I was like, "Fine, I'll play through Black Flag for you, so that you can like see how the story goes." And I remember I got to that first naval mission, and I was like firing off all the broadside cannons, and there's no smoke on the PS3.
Yeah, that's right. No particle effects.
There was no particle effects in the naval battles, and I was like, "Wait, what? This is so much easier. I can see the enemy ship the entire time." I was like, "I couldn't." After you fire all the broadside cannons on the PS4, you can't see shit. You're in a cloud. You have to move. I was like, "This is so easy." Oh, that was great. But it's like one of those things, right? Unless you play it back to back, you're not going to notice that difference.
Like to boil it down, I think like let's say there were like 5 changes made between PS1 and PS2, right? But I think there's like now like 1,000 different changes going from PS4 to PS5, but they're just not noticeable as much. The hardware and is allowing a lot more, and just the techniques they're using. Even just like people's like skin textures and the facial capture, and there's a lot more going on than the jumps between PS1 and PS2 or PS2 to PS3. a lot of people quote the jump to HD, right, with the PS3 and 360 as like a major milestone in visual fidelity. But I just think there's more happening each from PS4 to PS5 than any other console generation. You just don't notice it.
There is also. Go ahead.
If you go back and look at like people in games in like 2008 that used to look really good. Like I remember playing, to use it as an example again, like Assassin's Creed 1, looking at Desmond Miles and like Lucy and Altair and stuff and being like, these cities look insanely realistic. These people look insanely realistic. And you look back now and it's like, what is this? Fucking Dragon Age 1? These people look terrible.
Dragon Age 1 looks really rough.
But it's always hindsight. It's always hindsight. And we'll say the same thing about PS5 games when we're playing PC games in 2035, you know?
Nothing will ever look better than it is right now. We've hit the max.
We finally hit the plateau for visual fidelity. It can't get any better.
Because guys, I play Marvel Snap and Vampire Survivors. Trust me, I know the pinnacle of graphic fidelity.
Well, the scary thing is, like, if you look at CG in movies and how far it's advanced, you know, it's like games will get there at some point. It's just a matter of power, right?
You kidding me? Some games look better than CG in movies right now. Some of the CG being pumped out in movies blow.
I don't know. There's a lot of CG you don't even notice because it's that good.
Yes, but when you notice the bad stuff, some of the MCU shit lately has been pretty bad.
They're pumping it out too fast. They're you know, they're going ham on their effects.
Whoa, they got John Hamm?
Hell yeah, John Hamm's John Hamm.
Check it out. John Hamm with the mustard in the dispenser.
Yep. We'll send you guys some links.
That's gross. Then don't.
All right, so we're all getting the PS6s in 2027. I don't like the PS6. It sounds weird, doesn't it?
Well, that's what they said about the PS5 when we knew the PS4.
Yeah,
right. About the PS4 when we had the PS3.
PS2 though was probably the best. Or PSP.
This is the first one that was called the PS because nobody called the original one the PSX or the PS. They called it the PlayStation. Yeah, no one said that.
Boys,
right?
You want to play PS?
It wasn't until the PS2 that it was like, whoa, what is this? What is this acronym? What does that mean? PS2?
All right, final story for the week. Happy birthday, Xbox 360. Particularly the controller. It's coming back for its 17th birthday, which is an odd birthday to choose, but here we go. Yep. It's from Kotaku. Peripheral manufacturer Hyperkin is giving us all a good opportunity to find out. Huh? That's a broken sentence. All right. For the 360's 17th anniversary, Hyperkin is releasing an officially licensed replica of the 360 controller, compatible with the Xbox Series S and X and Windows 10 and 11. The Xenon, as in the sci-fi codename the 360 had back in 2005, when it was still just whispers, appears to be an accurate recreation. It features the original's simple slopes and button placements, basically begging to be coated in flaming hot Cheeto dirt.
Gross.
Xenon will, however, also be stubbed in the contemporary features you're probably used to having, like menu, view, and share options, and a headphone jack. It's also an officially licensed Microsoft product, so you won't be receiving a back alley knockoff.
Sorry, so you're saying that it won't have these features? It won't have a menu button, a view button, a share button? No, it does. It does have?
Yes. It's a contemporary controller, but the design of the 360.
Yeah.
However,
and it's even got a headphone jack.
Yeah. However, you'll only be able to connect it to the controller to your console or PC with a detachable USB-C cable.
Boo!
That's fine.
This is an odd controller, but whenever I see it, I always think that the Xbox One's controller looks very similar to the 360, but they look pretty different. The 360 one actually looks kind of weird now.
Yeah, they look different and they feel completely different.
Yeah. I used a wired being so what do you call it?
Rounded?
Yeah, I guess so. Rounded, yeah.
Yeah, it's not as angular as the Xbox One controller, but I used a wired 360 controller for a long time. Like for using a controller for PC gaming, like it was a long time before I got an Xbox One controller, like purely just for PC. I think it wasn't until I started playing Gears 4 on PC that I got an Xbox One controller for PC gaming, and now I'm using my SteelSeries controller for PC gaming. But yeah, it's I I used a wired 360 controller for a long time. I think I probably even still have it, and it still functions totally fine. But it's a solid controller. I really like the original 360, so this is definitely something that I will be looking into.
Does anyone have fond memories of that controller? I remember I bought that Tomb Raider edition one. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, that is a nice one, and it came with a code for the.
Did I give that to you though? Because I didn't have Tomb Raider on 360.
Yeah, you gave me the code. That was a nice controller. Like I saw that, I'm like, that is a really, really nice controller.
What was cool about it wasn't just a paint job to make it all look like scuffed up. It was actually into the plastic, and it was like you could feel grooves into it. That was crazy.
It's the same with the there was a Gears of War controller like that too, and the Xbox One controller that I have in my drawer here is also the Gears of War Xbox One controller that similarly has like the grooves carved into it, and like I think the B button on the side is like slightly cosmetically damaged as well.
Oh,
I really enjoy when
on
they
purpose.
Yeah, when they like go hard on the physical designs. Yeah, it's got the like cog symbol on the one side, and then it has slashes all across the face of the controller behind the buttons. And the buttons actually have unique designs on them for XB, A, and Y. They look like they're like carved into the buttons themselves instead of just like the printed letters.
We haven't really seen that in modern controllers, have we? Something like that, much detail.
I mean, those always kind of take a while to come out for the existing generation, right? Like, so I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see some custom Xbox Series and PS5 controllers. I mean, the Xbox Series, by and large, is not that different from the Xbox One controller.
It's just a flat front. That's about it.
So, and then they have the like super premium Elite controllers, which are kind of a thing. But yeah, I wonder how, because like it's been really interesting watching sort of the aesthetic change over the years for like what is cool for gaming, like what the gamer look is, And now it's like, because gaming is such a huge hobby and it's such a major like pop culture thing, I think it's definitely become a lot more contemporary. Like it used to be goofy and weird. Like gaming stuff was nerdy, was weird stuff. And now it's like contemporary cool stuff. So like everything is RGB. Everything is like matte black and gray. Everything is stainless steel. Everything is, printed typefaces. It's all very modern, like modernized designs, right? Like I would really love to see stuff go back to just trying to do goofy shit just for the sake of it.
Like an orange GameCube.
Yeah, man. Who's going to have an orange PS5? They're not going to launch an orange PS5. That'd be sick. I'm going to take my PS5 out to the garage and going to spray paint it orange right now. Why not?
They could release orange faceplates.
Yo, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, middle location. Ongoing effects are doubled or disabled? Ah, shit, I misread that. God damn it. All right.
For what?
Never mind. Playing Marvel Snap.
I was gonna say, is this like a live like showcasting update of the current Marvel Snap game that's happening right now?
Man, I thought I had that. I think I might have goofed on this. I'll give you guys a live. Oh man! Speaking of controllers, I'll see if Microsoft has the Black Friday sale, because I did the custom made color ones for the Xbox One controller, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then they discontinued those, and then they brought back the design labs for the Xbox Series. So I might do another, because I did like I think it was a white on black, or it was a black on white design. So I might do the inverse for this one. I should actually check that to see if those are on sale.
I wish the existing, or the Xbox One and the Xbox Series has like a weird problem. So I still have Xbox 360 controllers that are launch day ones that work, and obviously the sticks have been worn down, so they're more smooth. But the texture on them originally, and the little nubs on the up, down, left, right, weren't as dramatic, and they're even less dramatic now that they've been worn down. But the controller doesn't really feel all that different. side by side, if you picked up a new one versus the old one, you definitely feel the difference, but you don't feel it that differently. But I chew through Xbox One controllers and Xbox Series controllers because I rest my hands at the exact same spot, as you will, because that's where it's comfortable. And so there's like, I have a Gears controller with like a perfect wear mark of where my thumb is. And so it's like, it gets all worn, like right down, like all that really harsh texture that goes around the sticks on the Xbox One and the Xbox Series controllers. That's literally flat and smooth in one little section. It's where my thumb rests. So then it's like, all right, that controller's done. Another controller, use that for a couple of years. Okay, that controller's done, and the rinse repeat.
I do not go through controllers near. Like, Ryan, how many PlayStation controllers, PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 controllers have you gone through?
PlayStation 5, I have 3.
Good God, man.
One's broken, one's been replaced. So I guess you could count that as 4. Like I've had 4.
One got warranty replaced, you're saying?
One got warranty replaced and one's broken that I still have. And then PS4, gosh. I mean, they're broken right now, the ones I currently have. I actually purchased a new one from Walmart for like $90 or something like that. Just because I wanted a working DualShock 4 for my PS4. But I maybe had, I don't know, over 6 DualShock 4s.
Damn.
I must
now,
be
some
like
of those were purchased, though.
I must be the luckiest person when it comes to controllers because I've literally never had a console controller break on me in the life cycle of that console. Never.
Yeah, I think
I
I've had
tell you when mine
360.
first broke, too.
I'm still using an Xbox. What is this? An Xbox One wireless controller for my PC. This is like in the first wave of them. Still using it here, and I still have a PS4, and I use a PS4 controller from early on for on PC. So I have a dedicated controller for each of those, and then I have the PS5 back there.
I didn't have issues with the controllers until 2015 when I was playing the Phantom Pain. And with that kind of game, you kind of need accuracy. And I was like, holy crap, something's wrong here. And that was the first DualShock 4 that went down.
I am painting oh wow, they really increased the options for the Xbox Design Labs.
I wish you hadn't brought this up because this is the first time I'm looking at it in like a while. And they finally have the proper yellow color for an option.
Yeah.
And you can buy one.
And you can do the rubberized grips on the back now too.
Yeah, the back
fucking
or
love
the
the
side.
rubberized grips.
Yeah,
I didn't think I would like it.
No.
So you can do a standard or an elite. You can design an elite.
That's the thing that wasn't an option last time I looked at this. You could only design an elite last time, and I was like, I am not about to drop fucking $200 on a controller.
This is in Canada too.
Yeah.
ENCA.
No Black Friday sale from when I checked though. I checked yesterday.
Yeah, there's no sale.
I think I did mine at Christmas. I have a feeling there's going to be a Boxing Day sale. But like even this, like I just loaded up the Elite. This is.
I would love a custom controller, not necessarily like a Design Lab one, but like a really hardy, even metal or something, like just a really super premium controller. Put my gamer tag on there or something. And
that's
like
what I did. That's
fully
what I did
custom. Well, yeah, because you can do a Design Lab, but I mean like make it metal, make this thing invincible, and then weirdly make it available everywhere. So I just use this one controller on the PlayStation, on the computer, and on the Xbox. I would love that. One controller, that's my controller. I got a little stand for it, charge it up in the one same spot every time. And that would be awesome.
Holy crap, you can rubberize the whole grip, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm not using the one that I designed, that black and white one that has Alpha Tango 47 on it. I bought a stand for it, and it's in storage now because I moved, but it was just a design piece. It was just like a set piece in my condo. So I had it on a shelf, and it was just kind of above my console. But then also with it, I had that Xbox keychain that got printed that we did at Fan Expo that has Alpha Tango 47.
Oh, yeah.
So like that hung on one of the knobs, and it would just hang there. I am eyeing one of these Elite controllers.
But text on there too.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of words they don't love.
Oh,
All the kind of words you can't say on a podcast. Like, and.
Oh my God.
It's okay. Matt will blur that or bleep that in post.
And
No, I'm gonna amplify it.
And tweet it out
In
because
case
he's gonna buy a blue check mark as Tim Spence and he's gonna tweet it out.
Jesus, Murphy.
I would never. Good.
I was gonna say I'm not even verified, so it doesn't even mean that it's me.
Ryan, I ended up snapping and then I regretted it, and then that player ended up snapping, and then I ended up winning with 8. Getting 8
Yeah,
kills.
that's how you do it.
You know what's unfortunate about the Design Lab too is like, so you can customize not the Elite controller, it's like the Elite Core, I think, controller. But then if you were to edit or Design Lab the regular, let's say, controller, and you put all the stuff on there, like the rubberized grips and stuff, the price, it gets so expensive. And this is my struggle. It's like the price gets so expensive, and I'm like, well, I might as well just get an Elite controller. But then it's like, but I kind of want to customize it, but I can't customize the top of the line one. And it's like this weird, like, I can't justify buying a base, like, say, bottom of the food chain controller for over 100 Canadian when I could just get the, one of the other Elite ones. It just, to me, doesn't make any sense, which is unfortunate. I would love if you could customize the buttons more, though, in the Design Lab. Like, I actually kind of wanted buttons that didn't have the X, Y, A, B on there. I just want them to be blacked out.
Or X square, triangle, circle.
No, just that's it.
Wouldn't that be
Nothing on
crazy?
there.
Ryan,
That would
Ryan,
be ridiculous.
Get the hell out of here. Get
Jesus.
out.
Oh
Get
my God.
out.
Oh my God.
This isn't geometry, okay?
It's geology.
And astrology. I'm just going to sit here and go through designs now. This is the rest of the podcast. Good night, everyone. Actually, let's move on to what we're playing. Adriano, I know you got a big old list, so we'll start with you.
I'm playing 1/3 of the list right now. Cards that cost 4, 5, or 6 games. Okay.
Hey. No.
Yeah, let's do that. No, that doesn't work. All right, let's bring that back. Let's put you there. I am playing Marvel Snap right now. I have been trying to go through the Overwatch 2 Battle Pass, and I am finding it to be such a chore. I am not enjoying this process, even though I have in-game currency to buy the next 2 Battle Passes.
Yeah.
I don't know that I will.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've played this week is Sea of Thieves, and I finally hit level 50 with my Order of Souls. So now the Athena missions open up, and I was able to open up the staircase in the tavern and go down to the basement and find the other tavern down in the basement there. So I have that accessible now. So that's exciting. Yeah, that's me. Who else wants to speak while looking at controllers?
Matt.
I ain't looking at no controllers.
Oh, yeah, you are.
No, I did earlier. That was a part of my Black Friday shopping. And then I ended up buying a red, just the whatever red one they offer, series controller, because I only have one series controller, and the Y button's starting to go because I chew through controllers, like I said. But anyway, I am playing, or I guess I completed this week, Stubbs the Zombie. Thankfully, it's over.
And you love it?
No, I don't love it.
Okay.
I couldn't, like, I'm not trying to bash the game. It just really didn't age well. It was definitely not something revolutionary for its time, and that doesn't help it at all. I know there's a lot of big fans of it, and I get that. I would have been a big fan as a kid, I think, or as a younger gamer, especially during its launch. I think it was launched in the 360 era. But it's a little unfortunate. The game is just really bizarre, and the combat gets really samey. You basically can scratch the people, use your hand to take them over, use your head like a bowling ball that explodes, or throw grenades, or you can like fart gas everybody.
What?
The game is interesting in that you can strategize a bit, where instead of killing people, you can either kill them in certain ways or specifically eat their brains to heal, but then that also changes them into a zombie. And then they roughly take your orders. You can say like, hey, come over here. And then they're zombies. They're not all that smart. So they just kind of spread out everywhere. But you can overwhelm the battlefield by strategically getting a bunch of zombies and then moving in. But there's just a lot of parts in the game that are annoying. There's like there's one part near the end called Sniper Alley where I just kept getting killed. Eventually I was like, all right, found a vehicle, ripped right to the end. And I could just leave. There wasn't a specific objective like kill everybody or anything. I was able to a little objective appeared over a door and I just walked in the door. And I find that to be inconsistent in the game as well. The doors aren't always marked. The objective isn't always marked. And the map is really fucking weird. The map and the environments are almost like MMO size. They're MMO size, but we're, just humanoids, zombies, or literally people walking around, or some robots. And it's like we have these cars and these people and everything running around these roads. And it's like, here's a 2-lane road. That could be a 6-lane road. It's just the scale is so weird. Story is not that great. Like the story is basically non-existent. It's pretty shallow. The game is like more for like, being goofy. Hey, you can play as the zombie this time. You're in this 50s thing. We're going to do some crude humor. Haha. And that's kind of it. So I get why people are fans of it, but it's not my cup of tea at this point in my gaming career. But it's done. It's over with and it is uninstalled. And I immediately tried just one level of Devil May Cry. So I bought the Devil May Cry trilogy or HD collection, whatever, when it was on sale. And I played that first one. That game is fucking old. I'm going to say that now. Fixed camera angles. Aiming
it's not
kind of weird.
Camera angles though.
It is.
The camera does move.
Yeah, but not fixed camera angle. It's fixed camera angles. Like if I walk around a corner, it like moves the camera, but I can't move the camera.
I apologize, Matt. I didn't realize the distinction with yes there.
Well, no, but the thing is like, let's say I'm running down a path, so I'm pushing forward to run down the path, and then the camera flips over the action axis, if you will. So now I'm running toward the camera. If I release the stick and I push forward, I'm now running away. I have to push. That's the adjustment, right?
Yeah, that is a very, very valid concern with that era of games.
So there's that. But the game itself is like, it's fun. Like I enjoyed the first level, but very bizarre. So there's a map and it's kind of like, I called it kind of Resident Evil-y with the puzzles. But the first mission, and I can't even really give away spoilers. Like you show up to a castle.
Spoiler.
And then it literally says like, hey, this door, you need to get these red orbs. So it's kind of like, without giving you a tutorial, it's kind of like teaching you, hey, you can jump, you can kind of do this double jump if you run up against the surface. Hey, you can do this. Like you can just jump in general because they teach you no controls. These are what the red orbs look like. This is how you navigate a little bit. This is how you interact with things, stuff like that. And then there's a door there, like another door. There's 2 doors. There's a red door I'm trying to open. There's like this other door, and it says you need a rusty key. So I get through the red door, and it really opens up. Like there's just directions everywhere. Like I can go everywhere. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go, one direction, try to hit a dead end. And when I do hit that dead end, I'll turn around and I'll start exploring the other branching pathways. I go down that one path. I end up finding the rusty key. I get attacked. So combat is, again, not really taught to me, but I'm learning combat through my own means. And I finish the combat sequence. And then combat is all over the place. Every place I go after that, there's combat. And because I found this rusty key, I thought, okay, instead of me, going back and doing the branching paths, before I forget where this rusty key leads me to, I assume it's a side path. I'm going to go down there. So I back all the way out. I go into the side path, or what I thought was the side path. I do a small task in there. I open up another red door and it's like mission complete. Next mission. It's like, what? I didn't even know what the objective was. Like, what were all those branching paths back there?
So the game is split up into missions, and at the beginning of every mission, it'll tell you what you need to do. You need to do this. You need to do this and this and this. I think there's 18 or 19 missions in the entire game. And for the most part, you just need to get somewhere to quote unquote complete a mission. Occasionally you have to defeat a boss. And I think there's one mission where you're actually on a time limit, where you're actually slowly dying and you need to get somewhere before you you perish.
Oh boy.
But that game suffers from a lot of things that games did from that era. And there are a lot of similar games. That the first God of War, even the first Bayonetta are very similar in style. And it was go around, hack and slash, collect red orbs, level up, skill up. 4 yellow of these make up 1 yellow, which gives you a revive if you die. A blue one is this, and they even follow the same color patterns. It was really weird.
I was going to say, this sounds like the Devil May Cry color pattern.
It does exactly it. Yeah, because you could pick 3 or 4 games from that era, and they all did the exact same thing. It was collect red for upgrades, yellow does this, blue is this, and they're all the same. You could literally, it's like a drop down menu. What style of game do I want to play? And it's hack and slash, and then you pick the franchise. With the other thing that the Devil May Cry game, especially the second one, that it suffers from is the misuse of I'm not gonna say misuse, the environments. And I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but the environments are very long and exaggerated and bland. And you'll see this a lot if you ever get to the second game, where it's just very hard edge, 90 degree angled environments, and there's just nothing to it. You're just running and it's open. And in the second game, particularly, you're in like an Eastern European town. It is so goddamn bland to run around. At least in the castle, there's some Gothic architecture, but in the second game, it is a chore to play. And I have 4, and that game, I've played that game twice because there's 2 scenarios. There's an A and a B scenario, like Resident Evil. Can I ask you, Matt, what has enticed you to play this?
I've been going back and just in general and playing any game that I was curious to play as a kid or younger gamer and I just never did. So I've been doing that consistently for the past maybe 8 months. And this is one of them. This whole series is one of them.
Do you have a spreadsheet?
I don't have a spreadsheet, no. I do use IGN's playlist app, however.
Hell yeah.
I use Adriano's Excel spreadsheet option. And so
I need something more visual than just text, I think.
Oh, you can put in images and you can
No,
put
that's
links to
horrible.
pages.
That's disgusting.
That immediate response is,
So are you going to go through the Devil May Cry franchise?
Yep.
By chance?
Right. I bought all of them, including 4 SD, and then I stopped buying them because I didn't want to just spend a whole bunch of money on like 8 games that would take me forever to get to. Not literally 8 games, but
so you have Devil May Cry 2. I played those ones. Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening. I started it, never finished it. Oh, so are you doing the HD collection, or did you go find a place?
I have an HD collection for the first 3, and then I bought the other one. I can't remember if it was bundled with it, but it isn't in the HD collection. But I have 4 a special edition, which was instead of on PS2, it's on PS3, or instead of on PS3, it's on PS4. Either one of those. I can't remember what. It was like the one that jumped. It was like the base game was on one console, and then the HD or the special edition jumped to the next console because it launched late in one of the consoles' life cycle. I think it was the PS3, but I'm not 100%.
I'm just gonna take a look in my spreadsheet, see which ones I have. Devil May Cry. Oh, I do have the HD collection.
Probably in Prime Gaming, which they gave us for free, but that's some sort of weird limited edition.
Yeah, so what it is, it's they gave you the you have it in your library, but it's a custom version where they lock out the second and the third game. They actually only give you the first game for free. It's some weird dumb thing, but I have it on 360.
For some reason, I thought Devil May Cry was primarily a PlayStation.
No, so the original. I remember playing the Devil May Cry demo disc because it came with, if you bought Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Resident Evil Code. Beat Veronica X on PlayStation, you got a Devil May Cry demo disc in it.
Okay.
I might actually have it here somewhere. So I remember that was my first exposure to Devil May Cry, and I look at it, I'm like, who is this Leon looking motherfucker on the cover here? And it was a fun game, and it was originally a Resident Evil title. So I don't know how much you know of the history of the Resident Evil 4 development, but there is a scrapped version of that game. I think even like a second scrapped version, a very early one. But there's a major scrapped version of that game that's very different from the final release. And in the initial teasers and launch footage that they showed,
Mm-hmm.
and you're talking about like footage that was on a GameCube, and it wasn't great. It was like over the shoulder cam footage at some expo, because back then it was like 2002 or 3, and there was nothing, you couldn't capture anything. It was Leon in a haunted castle. So the original pitch for Resident Evil 4 was they were going to go into the supernatural side, kind of pivot towards the Silent Hill realm, and Leon was fighting ghosts in a haunted castle.
Okay.
They decided to scrap that, and then they redesigned it for the Spanish village setting. But then they took that concept and reworked it into what is Devil May Cry. So
slightly random, seemingly possible question, but I just purchased Resident Evil 4 with the Mercenaries thing on my Oculus Quest 2, because that's maybe my first VR game that I beat. That's going to be my goal. Is this the Mercenaries thing have anything to do with that?
No.
Okay.
No. So it was that like failed version never. Wow. A lot of Resident Evil's on sale on Steam. That Resident Evil 4 never was released. They actually did later release captured footage. Like they actually have, you can go on YouTube and watch properly captured footage of what was developed, and it essentially looks like mechanically Resident Evil 4. It's Leon over the shoulder, you're watching him go through a castle, and I think there's a haunted doll trying to kill him, and he's trying to run from it. But no, that game isn't playable in any state. I don't think it ever will be. But you got what the hell's Mercenaries? Let's take a look here.
It just came with it. It was a Black Friday deal for $27 instead of 40 some odd dollars in Canadian. You get on the Oculus store. You could purchase it. And the title card was like split kind of in half or in part. It was like now including the Mercenaries, I think is. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I just want to beat Resident Evil 4. And I thought VR would be cool, considering I did the motion controls for the Wii when I first played it, which I never beat it. So
typing Mercenaries into Resident Evil Mercenaries into Steam, and nothing's coming up.
Interesting. Might just be like a skin pack or something.
Resident Evil Mercenary. Oh, Mercenaries 3D. What is this? Is a mini game in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, and Village, and functions as let me load this in now. And functions as the entirety of the spin-off title, Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D. The exact gameplay and goal of each iteration differs, although it mostly involves getting it. Oh, so it's like an arcade.
Okay. Thing. I mean, it's a little add-on. Yeah. That's fine. Like I got it for free. I'm not going to complain.
Sorry, but so you're going to do Devil May Cry 2, 3, 4. Then there's the HD collection was also re-released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC later.
That's where I bought it. I bought it on the PS4 so I could play on my PS5.
Maybe I'll buy it.
Because it was stupidly cheap. Like, and there's a bundle, Adriano. So if you do go to buy it, there's a bundle that I can't find listed unless it's actually on sale, in which it's the trilogy. So it's like that's like quote unquote one game, and then the 4 SD, like 4 special edition, is just included, and the store entry is just like trilogy and 4 SD, and that's I believe the one I got, and I like waited I waited for like one sale had it, next sale didn't have it, then the next sale had it, but it was like super cheap or something like that. And I was like, okay, now's the time. Now's the time to purchase this.
Yeah, because I stopped at 3. So if I go in Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition, HD Collection, Devil May Cry. Yeah, so if I go
There's a whole bunch of Devil May Cry coming up in my life here.
Yeah.
But it's only 6 hours. How long to beat says the first game's like only 6 hours, which I'm sure my first playthrough is going to be longer. But this isn't, anything that's going to be more than, say, double a COD campaign. So it shouldn't be too bad.
You know what? I might just buy this because let me go back to my spreadsheet super quickly.
What do you do? You reorganize this stuff over there.
Consult the holy spreadsheet.
I have, let's see how many cells I have in here. I have 1,394 entries. But some of those entries are collections. So like the BioShock collection is 3 games. There's a title that has multiple things in it. So let me go back up. Because I actually just noticed in the Devil May Cry 3, the HD collection on Steam, and it gives you the soundtracks for the first 3 games. And that alone, I actually just kind of want to get those. So Devil May Cry 3, I have that. Oh my God, I have Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening on PC disc. I actually have the optical disc somewhere.
Hell yeah.
Then
I still got World of Warcraft on disc.
Oh, hell yeah.
I have like the original 5 discs or whatever from the vanilla game.
The D2 battle chest from that era, too. I have one of them, I think.
Yeah, I got the Warcraft 3 battle chest.
Are those worth anything? Have you checked to see if it's...
Probably. Mine are all used. I don't even know if I have the box. Like, because back then, you're a kid, right? Like, I bought it to play. I didn't buy it to keep.
$13. I'll get all the HD collection and then DMC HDC theme style. I don't know what the hell that is. And then 3 soundtracks. I might just buy this. Just to have. Let's look at the Capcom Black Friday sale collection.
Is this just a shopping podcast now?
Yeah, sure
what's going on here?
Is.
But anyway, that's short of me playing that. I'm playing Outriders as well. I'm on the very last achievement. And once I do that, I will 100,000% be able to run Ryan, if you so choose, and our other friend Alex through the raid. And then you too have completed all of the Outriders content to date.
Oh, Matt. Oh, I should play Outriders. I want to play that game.
You've been saying that for years.
I'll see right now. I'll see if it's on sale right now on Steam.
Oh, you don't have Game Pass anymore, right?
Yeah, I got rid of Game Pass. Matt, Resident Evil 5, $5 on Steam. You want to run through RE5 with me?
I maybe after RE4.
I think I have RE5 on Steam.
Well, I don't remember what RE5 is like.
Which one's 5?
Yeah, Africa. I can't remember what RE5 is.
Africa.
Oh, I wouldn't mind playing it. That's the co-op one, right?
Yeah, Chris and Sheva.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
RE5 is a fun game to play.
Yeah, I do have it.
Yeah, I actually only have one copy of RE5. I only have it on 360.
That's on Steam right now?
$5 on Steam. All right, we do this. Everyone gets it, and then we're each going to do 3
groups of 2.
I just bought RE4 here.
No, we're gonna do 3 playthroughs. We're gonna pair off, and then the other 2 people are gonna pair off, and then we're gonna swap, and then we're gonna swap again. Everyone plays the game with everyone.
Jesus.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna buy this. Matt, buy RE5.
I think I actually have it somewhere.
I said buy RE5.
If you already have, I can't.
What is a golden collect? Includes Untold Stories DLC.
Oh God. And the mercenaries, I'm sure.
Or hold on a second. Or wait a second, this doesn't make any sense. Buy Resident Evil 4, 5, 6 bundle information. Oh, I already have it. That's why.
That's already in my library.
Which one?
Resident Evil 5 Golden Edition.
Oh, Ryan, you want to play some Resident Evil 5 after Borderlands?
God. In 5 years? All right. Anyway.
Tim, what are you playing?
Tim, what are you playing, please?
I didn't have a huge variety this week because my computer was not here, so I was basically forced to take the week off streaming.
So you played Marvel Snap?
So I couldn't Marble Snap because I couldn't play on my computer. That's the only place you can play it.
No, the phone.
And nope. So I dusted off the old PS5, and I finally decided to get around to, quite nearly 3 years after it came out, finally got around to playing Norman Reedus and the Amazing Fetus, also known as Death Stranding.
I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about for a second.
And I don't know how far I am through that game. I just got to chapter 5. One of them's really short. One of them is basically just like a cutscene and a boss fight. I think that was 4. So I might have just started 5. And it's so much more than I thought it was going to be, is basically, I think, the best way I can say it. Because I got it for free actually when it first came out, because I won it through a like retailer, gaming retailer, like what's the way to describe it? Sony basically has this like training platform for people that are verified sellers of Sony products. And if you're an employee of one of those companies, you can like do these surveys basically, or quizzes. And then if you do well enough on the quizzes, you get entered into like draws to win stuff. So I won a couple of games through that, one of them being Death Stranding. And I played it for like maybe, I don't know, like 8 hours, 8 or 10 hours. And I was playing it and with Kayla basically, because I figured it was like sort of a weird narrative that she might enjoy. And so just with combination of that game being pretty slow to start, and then also it being kind of like, it can be really grindy if you want it to be. Like you can just keep doing like deliveries over and over and over in like the same area if you really want to, which I didn't realize until way too late, that you kind of can't finish off a location. Like if you go somewhere, there will always be a delivery that you can pick up and take somewhere else. Like it seems like it gets to the point where it just starts like randomly generating deliveries for you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize. So my completionist ass was like, oh, I have to keep going back and forth between these two places until I run out of deliveries to do. So in combination with like only ever playing when like Kayla and I were both free to kind of like hang out and do that, and then also with her kind of getting bored of it because of the way that I was playing it, and also me like not playing it in a very entertaining way, it just kind of fell off. And so then this time I just kind of sat down and I was like, I'm just going to play it, and I'm just going to play it the way I want to play it, and whenever like I get a chance to. And it's been really fun though. Like I've been trying to prioritize the main story more, but it really, like, it keeps introducing mechanics and like new equipment or new vehicles or things like that, new ways to traverse the environment that I have. Like I really am quite naive about that game. I wanted to avoid like spoilers and stuff as much as possible, so I really haven't seen much gameplay of it. I haven't like heard people talk about it because I wanted to experience it for myself. So in terms of like even just gameplay mechanics, I really didn't know how much there was available in the game. So it's been really cool. I've been really enjoying it, and a lot of the sort of optional stuff that I have been doing has either been like really helpful in terms of getting like new gear, or just like cosmetics and stuff for the vehicles. So, but yeah, there's a lot of like cool mechanics and stuff that I wasn't even aware of that make the game a lot more that make the like the basic things that are difficult in the beginning a lot more manageable and a lot less of a hassle as you go later on into the game. So that's been the majority of my week, honestly. And then we did some Two Worlds 2 co-op on Wednesday, which honestly has been way more fun than I thought it would be.
It's not bad.
It's awesome.
It's perfectly indicative of like a co-op medieval fantasy game at the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it doesn't do anything great, but it had some ideas that are like kind of cool. I'm playing a mage and I still don't understand how the magic works. So that's something that I definitely have to like look up before we play it again, because I really want to understand how it works. Yeah, I've been able to keep us alive relatively well with my like a basic heal spell. Like I don't know how to upgrade stuff. The magic made sense in the first game, and now the magic system's completely different in this game, and it seems like it's probably better, but I don't understand it. Like I feel like it has that potential, you know? I just have to grasp how it works, and then I'll be able to kick some serious ass. Because like I can't believe, and we've been jumping into like lobbies to like get prepped for the streams and stuff like that, and even just like figure things out for the game. And there are other people still playing this game. Like people are playing the multiplayer for Two Worlds too, and I cannot believe that. But I think the Steam, the Steam, the websites that like track Steam activity, I'm pretty sure that at like any given point, there's anywhere between like 45 and 150 people playing Two Worlds 2.
Yeah.
And you have to imagine that like at least 10% of those people are playing the online and not doing the main game. So at any given point, there's like maybe a half dozen people at least playing Two Worlds 2 online. And it feels like that's the case because when we go in, if we see other people, it's typically the same people we saw the previous week in that around that same time in that same lobby. Which is just incredible because it's like this person is a level 200, clearly some sort of magic user character who's still playing this goddamn game. Like what, props to them for playing, for getting this much enjoyment out of a game this old and, to be honest, this low quality.
Oh,
it's I just find it really funny. But it's a completely playable, completely passable experience, especially when you're playing like multiplayer with people because if it's a fun game, then you're all having fun. And if it's like a completely ridiculous game where you don't understand like how to use the controls, and half the time we're like, oh, what did I hit? What's the thing to undo this? And it's a good time.
They're streaming as well. Those other people, we should find their stream.
Oh my god, we really should. We really should look and see if anyone else is streaming Two Worlds 2 at the same time as us. That'd be hilarious. We'll just raid them after we're done. But I think that's it. Yeah, because nothing on my PC because my PC was out of commission for a good while. Yeah, and then like I said, aside from trying to get like certain games to work, now that I got my new graphics card, that's pretty much it. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned last time I was on the podcast, but for my birthday a couple of weeks ago, one of my friends bought me New World, and I had been playing a decent amount of New World actually, and I said I would never go back to MMOs, but like we had a decent group of people in just like my group of friends or people in my Discord that we were all sort of playing New World roughly at the same time. Like we all got back into it at the same time, or I got into it with the like new player experience and stuff. And it's a really interesting MMO because it's like there aren't any classes. You just kind of use the weapons that you want to use, and the weapons sort of dictate your abilities. And you can have two main weapon types. So it's like, you can use a rapier and a blunderbuss, or an ice gauntlet and a greatsword, or a sledgehammer, and so there's different builds you can have for your characters, and certain weapons synergize better with other weapons. But if you want to use two completely different ones, you totally can. And it's really interesting. It feels like a really, really accessible MMO, but also like a fleshed out kind of action adventure game at the same time, which is kind of, I think, the direction that I have to be looking in if I want to play an MMO again, because I can't deal with the just like click on enemies, mash the keys on your hotbar until it's dead, do your rotation, grind for 300 hours to try to get your best in slot gear for whatever you're doing. Like you can hit a level cap in New World in like a week, and then you just have to, you can spend maybe another week getting your gear, and then you're pretty much golden. Like it's wild to see an MMO that doesn't require you to give up your life for a couple of months in order to like become good and spec'd for end game content.
I'd actually argue that that's one of the reasons why looter shooters are so big, because they come in varying complexities, but nowhere as complex and as grindy, usually, not always, as like an MMO, like something like the Division and Outriders is like two examples. The Division is pretty complex. You can get pretty into the meta. You don't really have to. Outriders, you can get into the meta, but it's pretty simplistic. And there's like three skills in your hotbar, and it's just easy. And that's probably why I'm so allured to it, instead of being, like you're saying, grind for 200 hours, this and that. It's like in Outriders, I have ground for several hours, but I haven't been useless. I'm just trying to perfect things now, and I'm just enjoying playing it.
It's nice seeing the games that aim to streamline the player experience, even in an MMO setting like that. Like New World's the same, where it's like you can have 3 abilities per weapon, and then you can only have one weapon like equipped at a time. So your hotbar is only ever 3 abilities, which is quite nice. And I remember playing like World of Warcraft in the Wrath of Lich King days, and having a hotbar that was like 16 abilities, and some were like cooldown pops, and some were buffs, and some were very like niche specific situations. And this is really more of a PvP ability, and this is more of a raiding ability, and then this is your like major rotation that is like 4 or 5 skills, but then you use skill number 6 to reset skills 1 to 4, and then it's like, so it's a whole like balancing act of also remembering like the strategy of when to use what abilities and in what situations. And then you see these games that come out that really sort of aim to get rid of that like micromanagement aspect and make the experience more streamlined, because while there is a space, I think, for those like micromanagement simulators in MMOs, because there are a lot of people that have gone back to play, World of Warcraft Classic, for example, because they missed those days. You can only do this rotation so many thousands of times before it's like you're not really playing a game anymore. You're just kind of doing a hotkey matching simulator. So
doing a habit.
It literally just becomes muscle memory at that point. And it's like, is it fun, or is it just this, like, this is the process of what, this is how you do it, So, and also on top of the fact that games like Elder Scrolls Online and New World are really more like action oriented games, instead of, position here, target the enemy, mash the numbers 1 to 4 or 5 on your keyboard, versus like running around, getting behind cover, using arrows and magic spells, and jumping, positioning properly in melee with a character, like using the environment to your advantage, and actually clicking to attack, or pressing abilities, getting more of that like actiony style gameplay, rather than just auto attack from like a more traditional further away perspective targeting MMO system, which I'm still like a fan of. Like I still enjoy those games, but when it comes down to it, I do prefer more actiony games that have more player feedback. And I think in terms of MMOs, that's like really the only way that I can play them anymore. And it's a shame I didn't get more into ESO when it first came out, because it really was more like that. And I've always been a really big Elder Scrolls fan, so I don't really know why I never got into it. But I mean, I'm not gonna do it now just for the sake of going back and seeing if I like it, unless I had 4 or 5 people that also were playing it, because that's really the draw.
Well, here's the most unfortunate thing though, is like we tried to play it. Ryan and I tried to play it, and you can't sync up on quests. So if you and I have like a quest, or like Ryan and I, for example, we have a quest to like go out, kill 10 boars, and then come back, like get the pelts. So something, and then come back. If Ryan kills 10 boars and I kill 1, I'm at 1, he's at 10, he's done the quest, I'm not.
Yeah, there's no like party syncing progress.
Which or at least it wasn't at the time in MMOs anymore, or even shared world games.
That's true. Like Fallout 76 like changed. It like changed over to being like asynchronous asynchronous progress instead of synchronous progress. And there's some quests that have synchronous progress, and there's some things obviously like raids and similar like group activities, dungeons that are specifically for groups. But what's really sucks about ESO is that it tries to be really immersive, like an Elder Scrolls game, where it's like, help, this village is on fire, please put these fires out. And it's like, the town hall is still on fire in my game. It's not on fire because Aaron played it with us. It's not on fire in Aaron's game, and it's partially on fire in Ryan's game. And so I'm like running around, they're running around, and it's very like weird. And then there's so many cutscenes because they're trying to be immersive that it's like the party chat is just dead silent because no one's talking because everyone's doing their own thing and trying to get to the next quest.
I like different states as well. Yeah.
And then, so it just became this weird, like, where are you guys? Oh, I'm still putting the fires out. It's like, okay, I'll wait at the next signpost on the main road for you because we're moving down the road after you're done there. And it just felt really, that's what killed it for me. It was just like, holy fuck, like, what are we doing? Like, we might as well just play this single player.
But yeah, that's pretty well been my week.
As for me, the typical Fortnite, Overwatch, those are the ongoing games I'm doing. Marvel Snap, been doing a lot of that too. I finished Cyberpunk. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, but that's now done. That was fantastic.
What ending did you go with?
The Aldecados ending.
Very nice. I think that's probably like the most popular one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So I was happy with that ending. Excited for the DLC because I wouldn't mind getting back in there. What was odd is I'm not sure if you've had this, but once you finish the game, you can kind of run around the city again and do some odd jobs or whatever else. I saw that. Well, not odd jobs, but the jobs are gone.
That's very strange because it just brings you back to a save point before the final mission again.
Yeah, but I couldn't see any jobs on the map. Now, maybe it's some glitch. The game's very glitchy still, even after multiple updates.
That sounds like a glitch because I didn't. Well, now I can't remember if I had that issue because I think I did all of my jobs before I did the last mission. I kind of went back and did almost everything that I could do. There was one gig for one of the fixers that was bugged for me and couldn't start. I would go to the location. What's that?
You remember which one it was?
Yeah, it was the one for Padre, where you're supposed to go to this like apartment building, and then there's a person at the door you're supposed to talk to, and that NPC just wasn't at the door for me.
Oh, okay. Because I did all of his, thankfully, so it didn't glitch out for me at least.
Yeah, it was a disappointment because I did literally every other gig in the game except for that one.
This reminds me of your pigeon hunt in GTA 4.
My pigeon hunt?
I think so. Was it?
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you? Okay.
I had the thing happen in a AC1 trying to get all the flags in Kingdom. All 100 flags. They didn't spawn, so I had to start a new save to get all the flags in Kingdom achievement. And then also in Overlord 2, there was the achievement for either dominating every village or slaughtering every village. And in the third village in the game, there were some NPCs that just would like spawn inside physically inside their houses, and you couldn't target them because they were behind a wall. And that was like 15 hours into the game. So then you couldn't get the achievement because you couldn't like either mind control or kill every NPC. And I restarted that game 3 times trying to do that, and it bugged differently every time.
Oh my
god! There was one mission I had glitch out a bit. It was one of the boxing ones. It was the guy who has like the really fancy car, and he's like in debt, and he like offers up the car.
Yeah, the guy with the pregnant girlfriend.
Yeah, so when I went to that mission, he's like lying on the ground, just like dead in a dead animation. But he's talking to me, and you can still go through the dialogue. And you can see his mouth moving, but he's just lying there like passed out. And one guy actually came walking around, like just an NPC, and walked by his dead body and started dragging him along the ground as he's talking to me.
Oh my god.
You should have recorded that. Holy crap.
I do. I have it recorded, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Please post that in like the chat or something. That's so funny.
Yeah. And But that one got fixed when I like left, did another mission, came back, and it was fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Other than that, I did God of War Ragnarok. All my time's kind of focused on that now, thankfully. Amazing game. And I started Red Dead Redemption 2 on my PC because it was like on sale for like $26, and I was like, I have to see what this looks like.
Mm.
So that was it.
Nice.
Just wanted to see how it runs. That's it.
God damn it.
And Resident Evil 5 is done downloading.
Ooh.
You're gonna have to wait for my Resident Evil 4 VR experience. I'm gonna be like,
what?
Going through a horror game, and like I'm saying, if we want to do this 4 to 5 thing, like I'm doing this in VR.
So then go back to a game that came out in like 2012 or something. How old is 5?
Old.
20
old.
20 old? Is that you just
20
said?
old.
20 goddamn old.
20 old.
Speaking of buying games for cheap, though, and downloading them in a short period of time, there's a game that came across my radar a couple weeks ago called Roller Drome, which is an 80s style kind of like a story aesthetic where you're like a rollerblader, but it's a shooter, and you reload your guns by doing tricks off the environment.
Oh.
And it's like super kind of like the animation's very cell shaded. It looks like the Jet Set Radio Future or Jet Set Radio games. Like that's kind of art style, but it's like set in the kind of like almost like a Mad Maxy style world. And
right.
And yeah, you do tricks off the environment, off like quarter pipes, and grind on rails and do flips and shit to reload your guns, and then it's like a shooter. And it
That's
looks really fucking sick. So I bought that for cheap and downloaded it in like 5 minutes.
All right. That's all we got for this week. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Tim, you're on the Twitch, I hear?
Usually. I wasn't this week, but aside from on Wednesday night, but I will be, hopefully. Our basement has been under major construction this week as well, which was another thing why I didn't stream, because it was just going to be noise constantly in the background. But I'm going to try to stream most days this coming week at twitch.tv/the sidetrack, where I think I'm going to be starting BioShock 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to be starting BioShock 2. I got it downloaded, but we'll see how I feel come Monday. Might play Roller Drome. Might play some Two Worlds 2. That's not going to happen. It'll be Roller Drome or it'll be BioShock. We'll see how it's going. But yeah.
I typed Outriders into Steam, and I have Outriders World Slayer Upgrade, and then Outriders World Slayer.
Outrider?
Somebody give me some context, please.
Slay the world.
You have to say it like that into the voice command. Outrider?
There's no voice command.
No, World Slayer is a major...
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for answering.
World Slayer is a major expansion to Outriders. So if you bought Outriders, say the original, there was a big update called the New Horizons update. That's just an update, free. And then there was a paid expansion pack that reworked the majority of the game's late game and some mid game mechanics as well. And that is a paid expansion. So if you owned the original, you would then have to upgrade. But if you just buy World Slayer, you get it all. Double check that in the description.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but the World Slayer is $51.
Yes, it's relatively new still.
That's a 52% price tag for an expansion. Holy hell.
Well, no, it comes with the base game and the expansion.
Yeah, it's a bundle for everything.
Oh, okay.
52% off, though.
Christ.
Originally $105.
Having flashbacks to my old WoW days where I had to spend like $40 every time an expansion came out.
Hooey. Guild War days.
Yeah. All right, you can catch us playing Two Worlds 2. Twitch.tv/Day One Patch Media, Wednesdays, 9 p.m.
Two Worlds as well.
Correct.
2. Also.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
What was that?
Yeah, what the hell happened there?
That was me. That was
sounded like you went underwater halfway through.
Yeah, that was weird.